Hey, welcome to Homebuyer Seminar. Those of us who are working, Patricia's sitting there enjoying the beautiful sunshine in Southern California through the sunroof in the car. I'm Bill Gross at Bill Gross Probate and Social Media. And my colleague enjoying the sun. Go ahead and say hi.
Yes, Patricia Castillo. Hi, everybody.
And our good friend.
How's it going, guys? Shannon the lender.
Here we are. We are headed into the summer season where the real estate market's getting ready to get hot. How about the interest rates come down? For all the talk, is it me? All the talk about the news is the economy is volatile, is this, things are falling off, the wheels are falling off. Rates have been about the same the whole time. They're slightly below 7, 6.87. They're actually down a little bit today from when they were last week. Really no news on interest rates. They're just kind of where they've been, right?
What I tell you? What did I tell you?
A lot of drama over nothing.
Yeah. I think we're gonna hold steady for a while. So, and again, I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but prepare for what is now. I think everyone is just making decisions off hypothetical. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. And at least worst case scenario, I'm wrong. You buy a house at a good price, and you're just able to refinance once you're in it. So, yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
And as far as the market overall, I think Patricia and I have a new listing we took a couple weeks ago. This
Nice.
ready to go into escrow. It's going to take a little time just to get the attorneys all kind of lined up on the same page. But if it was a normal seller, we'd be in escrow today.
Right.
Well, how
So
many
there's
offers
some-
did
Usually
you guys get?
transactions take a little longer.
Yeah, yeah. We got a handful of offers. In terms of actual bona fide offers, I want to say about 6 or 7.
Oh, nice. That's
Yeah,
good on it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah,
the
yeah.
buyers are out. Buyers are out for sure.
What I would say is the buyers are definitely out at the entry level every market, meaning you want to buy the worst condition house in a nice area. That property is going to sell because people will fix it up or they'll live in it as is and get by, but they want to be in a property. The highest end house, the biggest house in the area, that one's probably going to be tough to sell. The one with all the amenities and the seller wants to get it all back. I don't think
Right.
you're getting the money back anymore. But the probate deals we tend to deal with are, need some love, need some improvement, need some cleanup, and there are people wanting to do that to get in house, and the market's still solid enough for those people, I think.
It is. And I think also for these buyers, just like buyers and like us, we know handymen, we know contractors, we know people that, are skilled in different trades, right? Maybe it's a handyman that can do generally a little bit of everything, or people generally have somebody in their family that can do painting, flooring, tile. So buying a home like this, you get the benefit of customizing the home yourself, hiring the people that you want to hire so you know what kind of work they're doing, right? Because if you buy a home that's been flipped, it could be a good home, have some quality work done, but when you do it yourself and you hire your own people, you're able to see the work that's getting done. And if you along the way decide you want to change something, maybe you decided not to go with that backsplash in the kitchen, or you decided to switch out the vanity in the bathroom, you still have time to do that. And so that's really I think the beauty also of buying a home that needs some TLC is having the freedom to customize it and make it your own.
That's a good point actually that I wanted to bring up as someone who's a first-time home buyer watching this. What are some things you would say to avoid when going into a house? Because obviously you said, hey, if it needs a fresh coat of paint, if it needs little things like that, but as a first-time home buyer going into a property, what are the things that should be intact or saying, hey, if this is an issue, you might want to consider either a major reduction or you might want to consider buying something else as a first time home buyer. What would you say are those that list of things of, hey, watch out for?
Well, I would say there's things you can't see, right? Like you were not
Right.
going to go into the house. The buyer's not going to climb up on top of the roof. They could if they bring a handyman with them, but if they don't have a contractor that's available and it's going to go do kind of like a semi, pre-inspection, so to speak, just make the offer and, get into escrow, get your inspections done, and the buyers are free to use whoever they want. So if they have a family member that knows about property, maybe they have a construction company, then they're able to bring in that contractor and do their own inspection with their qualified professional. Right. So you don't always have to, you don't have to use we make recommendations as realtors because we have a network of vendors that we use. But I always tell my clients, if you have a trusted contractor or handyman, bring them and let them do your inspection as long as you trust them and they're going to be able to check out everything in the home. And sometimes that first initial inspection will lead to further inspections. But generally, you want to ask about the roof, the plumbing, what kind of major upgrades were made along the way from the prior owner. Because sometimes in the listing description, it'll say updated, fully remodeled home. And then it'll go on to say, 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, pool, but you don't really know what was upgraded. And sometimes you do see, like us as realtors, we can see some documents that get uploaded to the MLS where it would state on there the upgrades that were made. And the seller should have proof of all that, like work orders and receipts, things like that. So either way, you're always going to have an inspection done to identify anything that would be potentially wrong with the property or need attention. Right. So looking under the house, foundation issues, things like that.
Got it. And piggybacking off that, for any first-time homebuyers out there, a lot of people ask, hey, does the condition of the property affect my loan? And to answer that, yes and no. A lot of clients think, oh, do I need to send the property inspection report to you? No, you don't. The only thing we have to worry about is whatever the appraiser calls out. So if the appraiser, 9 times out of 10, they're looking for 2 things, safety and habitability. So as long as your property checks off those 2 boxes, you're fine. Now, if it's FHA, they're a little bit more picky. They don't want to see too much chip paint. They want to see your fascia's good. They want to see a little bit more, but 9 times out of 10, as long as the appraiser doesn't call on it, you're fine. So, you can, in retrospect, buy, like you said, an outdated house. But as long as it's habitable, as long as there's no safety issues, I've heard like stair rails, needing to be put on, anything that has to deal with, again, your safety and being able to live in it. That's what the loan cares about. Everything else, obviously that's where the agent comes in and negotiates for you or gets, like you said, a handyman or a contract. But on the loan side, that's all the bank cares about outside of what it's worth is, hey, can you live in there and is it safe for you? So just as a tip for those first-time homebuyers out there.
What do you think, Bill?
I would say that when you find upgrades, when you go into a house and things have better than the normal, you're paying for that.
Right.
And so you have to decide, when you negotiate the deal, I think the sellers sometimes feel like, oh, well, we're going to make this really nice and we're going to freshly paint it this really artistic look, which could be great. But if the buyer just is very plain and you walk in, you see a property with fancy wallpaper and painting and all kinds of add-ons, you're paying for those. And so I think the thing to think about as a buyer is, what do you want? What do you need? And I'll never forget the best deal on a house I ever bought. My wife and I, we bought our first house, and it was like a starter home, and we knew it was too small, but it was good to live in. But the house that came in the market, I knew where it was. It was a cul-de-sac. I grew up in an area, there was a cul-de-sac, and our backyard was a avocado orchard and a park. I grew up in a very semi-rural kind of area, and I'm living in the city in Diamond Bar. But this house came in the market, we're backed up to the canyon on a cul-de-sac. And it was thrashed inside. I mean, every surface was a mess. Every paint was disastrous. It needed to be repainted surface, the entire house. Every sink had to be redone. But I could see it. It had the structure we wanted. It was new enough. And so I kind of saw that. And when my wife saw the property and would start crying because she thought, you're going to make me move this house. I said, no, honey, I'm going to give you a budget. I'm going to let you paint, carpet, every surface in the house. But can you imagine what it'd be like, if everything was done nicely? And so I think as a buyer, the challenge is to see it that we all like everything to be nice, neat, and clean. And I'm not handy at all. I don't do anything, but I do know how to get a budget together and hire good people to do the work. And so as a result, we got a house on the cheap that many buyers wouldn't buy because it was bad. And it took us about a week to repaint and carpet and tile. My wife did a really good job getting it all done. And we ended up with a really beautiful house on a great buy. And we liked the house a lot. That's where we wanted to live. And in those areas, you don't often get to pick where you live. Like if you want to be in a certain neighborhood, there's only so many houses in that neighborhood. And that house was available and we got it and we were in it. So I would just say as a buyer, you try to imagine what you can do to it. Don't buy the house that's perfect. Buy the house maybe that focus on the location and the structure. The cosmetics can always be changed or upgraded.
Right. As long as the location meets your needs, the floor plan, the bed and bath count, then at that point you're already winning, right? Because
Nice.
most people will look at the location first because they're tying that to either their kids' schools, their commute to work, and family and babysitters.
I love
Right.
that.
So yeah, so
Location, you said
Mhm.
floor plan and bedroom bath
bed
count.
and bath
Yeah,
count.
those are
Right.
the 3 things to look at. That's actually really good. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay,
So
great.
I say if it checks off, I mean, to find a home that's absolutely perfect and meets everything on the list, it might happen, but as long as the home checks off 6 or 7 of those boxes, then I would say that's probably your ideal home. Because again, in the future, you can customize it. If maybe you want an extra bedroom, you can always add one in the future. You can budget for that and then add it later or add a restroom. Some homes may have like 1.5 baths and you may want another shower or, full bathroom. So those are things that you can add on later. But then you're going to you're going to have a result like Bill. You're going to buy a home at a really good price and then you're going to customize it along the way.
I'm not going to customize it. Yeah, and I do nothing. I think that's the other thing is there are plenty of people in the world who love doing this kind of work. And my wife enjoyed the process of picking out and colors and negotiating with the contractors and stuff. And I really did nothing, but I saw the vision, made the budget, wrote a check, and stayed out of the way. That's really that was my contribution. Was I stay out of the way and bought pizza when it was all done for the guys.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, great. Another topic I had on here is debt. I'm actually coming across a lot of people with debt. And one thing I want to say about when you're buying a house, the banks don't necessarily care about how much you owe. What they care about, what's your monthly payment on that debt.
Mhm.
Student loans included. Even I'm getting people that, hey, if they split up, they still have that, that debt that they had it jointly. Unfortunately, that is an account unless we can get some divorce decree saying that, hey, this is not your obligation. But you should definitely be aware of that, especially car payments. I know we talk about that a lot. But for those of you out there, it's not just your credit score that they look at. They look at how much debt you have and what are those monthly obligations. And I also get asked too, hey, are my utilities getting counted? No, it's whatever is on your credit report is going to get counted. And if you're co-signing for someone else, which I highly advise not to do, but if you are going to do it, make sure that they make the payments under their name, under their bank account, because with conventional guidelines, if someone else has been paying and they're on the loan as well, whatever that is, car loan, whatever the case is, if they have 12 months history of paying it out of their bank account, then we can possibly get that debt, removed from your debt to income ratio. But if they're paying you back every time you're paying it, that's a no-go. And I see that a lot where, hey, parents buy car for, daughter's working, but daughter just pays the parent every month for the car payment, but it's coming out of their account. It's like, sorry guys, I can't do much about that. But if daughter is putting the automatic payments under her name, then we can get that payment removed from you guys. So definitely something to look out at, watch out. And make sure you pay your credit cards a day before the statement date. A lot of people are I get a lot of credit card bills on the credit report and it says, oh, you owe, $5,000 on Amex. Well, I paid that off on the 1st. Well, your Amex, reports on the 24th. So you got to make sure if you want it to reflect on your credit report and your statement, then you got to pay a day before that statement date is. And you can just look at your statement, see when it ends, hey, we bill from the 24th to the 24th. that means you got to make sure it's paid on the 23rd. So that's another thing. A lot of people think if I pay my cards off on the 1st, it's not going to show. And that's not true. It's wherever your credit card has a statement date. That statement date you want to do it the day before, so you show a zero balance. So that's another key for people out there. You're paying credit cards, that's great, but you got to pay it at a great time, because if not, it's still going to show on your credit report. But yeah. So yeah, that's all.
The other option is go cold turkey and just use debit cards while you're shopping for houses.
Yeah,
Another option.
I try to tell people that. I told them, hey, you know what? Avoid credit cards right now, because once we pull, we got to make sure your credit score is exactly that, and all your debts are exactly that. No more, no less. Yeah. So, yeah, less is better. But yeah.
Yeah, none's better than less, actually. And no new cars, don't buy anything new, and no 90-day same as cash stuff. Just pay for cash while you're buying the house. You get the best deal. You're going to save thousands of dollars by not incurring any debt.
Yeah.
And I think some of those tricky situations that seem very appealing. Let's go look for, let's go to Living. They're having, especially right now during the summer for July, then we have Labor Day later on. They'll have these promotional finance situations where you can buy, let's say, spend over $2,000 and you're not going to pay interest until the next year. So that might be very enticing for buyers to want to go out, buy new furniture, because they're going to close escrow and they want to furnish their home. But
Right.
That's not the time to actually make the purchase. It's after you've closed escrow, then you go to Living Spaces or wherever you're going to go. And at that point, if you wanted to open up a credit account, you can. If you're going to buy the furniture, maybe you buy some of it cash and the other 50% you put on credit. But you don't want to open any credit accounts, even if you're not going to be making payments on them, because it's still.
Patricia, you there?
She's disappeared.
Oh, no.
It's like a magic trick.
The credit gods did not like to hear that.
Yeah, they. That's funny. The credit gods want you stuck paying credit forever, and they're not going to let you out.
Patricia, you there?
Yeah. I got, I don't know why my camera's like that, but can you hear me?
Yeah. We can hear you
Okay.
now.
Yeah. So just going back to what we were talking about, don't make any purchases while you're in escrow. Wait until your loan has closed.
Don't make any
Yep.
purchases. Check. Yeah, just
Wait
definitely
for everything.
just get off the grid as best you can.
And don't fight with your boss either. Oh my God. I don't know why last year I had two of those situations, like they're fighting with their boss and I'm like, don't get fired during the in escrow, please don't. Because they will check. Oh my God. It's like, just please, I had this buyer that I don't know why just got into it with her boss. Oh, I needed to leave an hour early to make this. I think it was the EMD or something like that. It was like early on the process and they were getting an argument. She like stormed off and like, F this lady. I'm like, please go back, apologize. Cause the last thing we need is for you to get fired. I'd rather you just have talk to the agent. I think the EMD coming in a day later is not going to kill the deal, but you getting fired will. So please play nice, be good at work. If you're busy at work, that's great. Stay busy. Try not to take less hours, but don't get fired.
That's funny.
I have had people transition, and they ask me, hey, can I transition now? I told them, hey, try to wait until after escrow before you move. So, I did have that situation where a client moved jobs midway through escrow. We had to wait another 15 days because they had to get a pay stubs for their new job, which was a delay. But yes, keep your job, keep your money, because this purchase is one of the biggest you'll ever make. Well, yeah, I think that's about it for today. The credit gods had enough. She's back.
Back in. Okay. So I think overall, Patricia, what's going on this weekend? You have any open houses or any new properties to show people, or what's going on?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be doing an open house this weekend, Riverside. But I have a 3 bedroom, 2 bath coming up in Moreno Valley in Riverside. I think that one's gonna go live on June 18th. So getting that one ready, and then I have another commercial retail space coming up pretty soon in
Oh, nice.
West
Where at?
on the west side near Normandy.
Nice.
Look at
Nice.
you. Look at
You-
you.
You need a commercial lending? Let me know. That's a big one.
Yeah, if you need a hall pass to come here past the 110, let me know. I'll get you a hall pass.
Thank you.
You're in my neighborhood now. Cool. Shannon the lender, what's going on in lending? What are you doing this weekend? What's going on business-wise? How's people get a hold of you? What's the next step?
Yeah. People get a hold of me. My phone number is 661-317-8484 or my Instagram, FUND with Shannon. Got a lot of exciting things going on. I actually have a client that took out some money from their 6-unit apartment building, is now buying a $900,000 house or trying to look for one in actually in the Antelope Valley. So that's happening. Another client is getting a 25-unit building that we're trying to get some financing on as well. So yeah, a lot of exciting stuff. A few mobile home loans that we got in escrow. So
Nice.
yeah, things are moving and shaking. What about you, Bill?
We closed a couple small deals. Got another closing, small one next week. We're trying to get a couple of deals in escrow. So I'm busy. There's plenty going on in the market,
Yeah.
So if I can help with anything, reach out. I'm at Bill Gross Probate on social media. I know Patricia's phone number, 323-365-9909. She answers her cell phone. Call her. She can help. And I know we appreciate you guys for watching this. If you have some suggestions or questions, put in the comments. Subscribe, like. Have a great week. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye.
All right, guys.